My name is Langley Foster. I'm in grade 9 and I live in the Seattle area. Given that sustainable, widespread public transportation systems are a huge aspect of developing a green economy and combating climate change, how do you plan to move towards sustainability while also improving the transit system?
Well, that's such a great question. Thank you, Langley. In our state, the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions is actually from transportation. So this is something we've got to address if we're going to combat climate change. And I think the most important thing we can do in the short term is both make electric vehicles and electric transportation options available to more people, and also make it easier to walk and bike and ride the bus, which are also lower emission modes of transportation. So we passed a big transportation investment 2 years ago called Move Ahead Washington. That's why buses are fare free for kids in Washington, same as our ferries and our Amtrak Cascades train service as well. We want to make it easier to walk, bike, and use transit, and that's going to be how we reduce our emissions and then switch everything to electric as quickly as we can.
Well, that's a great question, and there's really no easy answer to it. But first, I think we have to agree on, what are the most important elements of our transportation system. It is different as you look at the needs on the west side of the state, and by that I mean the true west side of the state versus the east side of the state. Our requirements there are much different, yet they interact with each other. They depend on each other. For example, the products that we grow in eastern Washington have to get over to our ports in western Washington. So from a transportation and even a transit system type of answer, I would say that transit's probably more important on the west side of the state than it is to the east side of the state because we're so spread out. It makes a much different type of requirement as you look at that transit system. But I think the element that we got to think about is what are the things that are going to make our transportation system support our economy. And I would point out that, bike and pedestrian paths are very nice. They're nice to have. They're functional. They do help, but they are not going to solve our problem. And I think in some instances, transit is the same way. The biggest problem that I see with our transit system right now is it's expensive, and it's less than 5% of our trips. So if it ever gets to 15 or 20%, I don't know how we can afford it. So I think we have to look at all of those elements and not just focus on one.
Hi, my name is Immanuel. I'm 16. I'm from Tacoma, district number 27. I take public transportation almost everywhere I go. Most people don't feel safe expressing concerns about safety on public transit. How can constituents provide input or feedback on transportation issues to the senator's office?
Well, Emmanuel, I very much appreciate your question because it is a concern of mine. Truly is. And I don't use transit, just to be upfront. But we have seen a decrease in ridership. Some of it's coming back, but we saw a huge decrease in transit ridership during COVID. As I say, it's starting to come back. But to your point, I think one of the things that is restricting more people riding on a transit bus is just their fear of the things that can happen. We've all heard the stories of the fentanyl users that have gone on and rolled out their aluminum and then heated up their fentanyl to the point where the bus had to pull over just to get some fresh air to maintain, their stability. So first, I would say this is really more of a local issue, and that I would suggest you look up your transit agency, and that's who you should call first, and see what kind of a response. Because I would tell you, transit does I think, a very poor job when it comes to keeping the ridership safe, and we need to look at ways to improve that. If you do need to get a hold of your legislator would like to get a hold of your legislator, you can get on website leg.leg.wa.gov. So that's leg.wa.gov, and it could lead you to who your legislator is, and you'd either be able to talk to them or you can leave them that question and see what kind of a response you get. But again, I would start with your transit agency and express your concerns and see what they have to tell you. But thanks for the question.
Immanuel, that's such a great question. We need to make sure that not just public transit, but every space in our state is safe for people to move around. In this particular case, it's important to think about the levels of government as well. So in state government, we don't directly operate that Pierce Transit bus that you're using in Tacoma. There's a special board of directors that runs Pierce Transit, and folks like the mayor of Tacoma, your county executive, and others are involved in those decision making. So it is always important to reach out to your senators and representatives. When it comes to safety on your local bus, a good stop might be to talk to Pierce Transit and their board of directors, express your concerns, and make sure that they're hearing from you as well. Sometimes in government, it depends on where you go and who's running things to figure out the best way to make change, and this is a good example of that.